Hello, and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how you can use your employees' feedback to uncover sales opportunities for explosive. Wow. Okay, explosive growth. Why? Why is this important to you? Because a lot of employers don't do it. A lot of businesses don't do it. So we're going to talk about all of these things. I'm excited. You should be excited. These are opportunities that it's just leaving, one, money on the floor, and two, that are so easy to fix. Like the ROI on this is huge and the cost is very small. So you're going to want to pay attention to this. This is important, okay? If you haven't watched a video in a while, if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help businesses and people thrive. Welcome. I go live most days at 11 a.m. I don't go live every day. I try to, but unfortunately I have other commitments sometimes. But you will generally find me here at 11 o'clock. Please join me if you have any questions. If you can't join me, and I totally understand that, leave comments down below. That's what they're there for, because I want to help. That's the goal, helping. That's why I do these videos. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so why is this important? And as I kind of talked about in the intro, before the intro, that there's money to be had for a small business or a business in general, that you're leaving it on the floor. It's just sitting there waiting or for you to implement these things in order for you to do it. And they're so simple. This is not rocket science. But a lot of businesses get caught up in bureaucracy and internal politics. And rather than doing these things, they'd rather just do things the way that they've always been done. And so they're always going to get what they've always gotten, right? So these are ways that you can be like stealthy, crazy, get your stuff done, make money, and be happy, and make your customers happier. That's the goal, right? Like, I mean, legit. If you can make your customers happy, you're going to make more money. That's just how it works. I mean, it's not a perfect thing, but it will help you. So number one, this is number one. Survey all of your employees. Now, it needs to be monthly or at minimum quarterly. And what do I mean by all employees? Don't just survey your sales or your marketing employees. That's what most people think. They're like, I'm just going to say, those are the ones that help me improve my bottom line. Not true. Get your mind out of that. Survey all your employees. Now, what should you put on that survey? That's up to you, because you know your business better than anybody else does. So you're going to want to survey all your employees. You're going to want to take the information that you get from these surveys, and then you're going to use that information to help you. And we'll get to that in just a second, but that's the first step. First, you have to ask for help. Like, you can't get something without asking for it. People don't know that you want their help. And what I was alluding to earlier about the bureaucracy and the internal politics of a company, there's a lot of employees that are afraid of voicing their opinion because they might look stupid, or there might be retribution that because it's an idea that their boss didn't have or their boss's boss didn't have, and so they're afraid of saying it because it'll make their boss look bad, and then it'll hurt their relationship with their boss. Now, I would like to think that most people don't have this type of relationship, but they do exist. So I'm talking in that specific instance. That's why it's so important that you do the next step. The next step is have suggestion boxes or ways of communicating ideas anonymously, okay? Because some employees just don't feel comfortable speaking up. They're shy, they're introverted, they're people that just, they have an idea, but it's like they feel like that nobody's going to listen to them, and so they just don't ever do it. And so the goal is to create a situation where there's no risk to them for submitting the idea. Okay. And sometimes, and again, and this kind of helps alleviate the whole politics, internal stuff that goes with it, so that you're really going to save and help and get more feedback from your employees. Okay. The next one is kind of crucial, because here's the thing. If you don't do this next step, a lot of employees are like, yeah, woo, I don't care, right? Not because they don't care about their job, but they don't care about improving. Like, I'm going to make you more money, but how does that help me, right? Like and it's not to be a cynical part of it, but the reality is if I'm going to go through the work to have an idea and help implement that idea, you should compensate them for them. And that's the next point. Give varying levels of incentives for implemented ideas, right? Not every idea is going to be a good idea. Okay, let's say it how it is. It's just true. Not every idea is a good idea. But if you're able to make thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars potentially off of an employee's idea, shouldn't that employee receive the benefit of that idea, right? Like, yes, you own it, which means you're going to make more money off of it than the employee is. I'm not suggesting that. But imagine, and then I'm just throwing this out here, is that they have a $1 million idea, and you reward them with the woohoo $25 gift card to the movies, which barely buys you one ticket these days, right? Versus if you can point to, this idea giving people a direct benefit, right? Like if it did truly be $1 million, why not cut them in for a piece of that for the first year or something like that, right? Does it have to be, 10%? No, absolutely not. I mean, unless that's their role, right? Like that's their sales role. But I'm saying like, be reasonable in that, right? If the company's getting $1 million and you're giving them $100, that doesn't incentivize anybody to do anything, right? Like it's very selfish of the employer to do that. So reward your employees for their ideas that are implemented based on the quality of the idea. Some ideas are going to be good. Some ideas are going to be bad. That's just how it is. Like not every idea is ever going to work, but it helps them stay invested in your business by doing that. All right. So next, happy employees are more productive employees, which means they're better at their jobs. So work your model around helping your employees be more successful. Not because I'm not suggesting they shouldn't want to do their jobs because you're paying them. But here's the thing. Thank yous and company retreats and things that show that that they matter more than just the paycheck can do amazing things for morale. And when you have better morale employees, they treat your clients better, they treat your customers better, they treat your vendors better. There's a better relationship happening that allows them to get better feedback from your customers, right? So it's kind of like this circle. You treat your client, you treat your employees well, the employees treat your clients well, they buy more stuff, and it just cycles like that. And by listening to them and implementing the ideas that they're giving you, you're going to see some major growth. Now, is it going to happen overnight? See, there's a difference. I don't want you to get caught in this idea that just because you implement these things today, that it's going to be instantaneous. There's explosive growth doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow, right? It might take a little while for that explosion to happen, depending on the fuse of each idea and the thing that you do, right? So don't feel like just because I said explosive growth, that means that it's instantaneous. There's a difference. Now, the explosion might be instantaneous, but it might take a little bit of a fuse to get there, right? So keep that in mind as you're developing these ideas and these plans. Okay, next one. There's nothing worse than doing a job and not knowing how well you're doing with that job, because it leaves employees feeling like they don't matter. So that they're just there to do a job. Provide meaningful and honest feedback about the job performance. And I'm not talking about the finding every fault with someone, because no one's perfect, right? No one is perfect, and no one is terrible, like in their entirety. They might have terrible things about them that they do, and they might have great things that they do, right? It's important that you focus on their strengths and their weaknesses, not just their weaknesses and not just their strengths, right? You need to give on it, because people can tell when you're lying to them. They're really good barometers. If they know they've struggled with something, telling them they're great at it destroys your relationship with them, okay? Telling someone that's bad at something that they're terrible at it kills morale. I had a job once that just their review process was just absolutely abysmal. Terrible feedback, because they put you on this number scale, and it was just absolutely stupid, the way that they gave feedback, because it wasn't accurate. It wasn't honest, right? It was skewed towards the benefit of the company rather than who the person is, right? Now, I get that the role as an employee is to help the company, but by giving honest and meaningful feedback, you're going to build trust with them, right? You're going to have a better relationship with your employees when you do this. Now, this is very important, because a lot of employers do not do this step, and this is where your money is at. Like I've shared with you these other ideas, I've shared these things with you, but you've really got to keep this one in mind. You need to listen to the feedback that your employees give you. I know it's hard, right? Because as the person that's most invested in the business, the managers, the owners, fill in the blank, it's really hard for you to say, oh, someone else might know something I don't know. But that's the mark of a truly great leader, is a leader that can listen and absorb it and take it in, and not just listen to it, but understand it, and not be offended or territorial about it, right? Like, I've had bosses like that. Like, you try to help, you try to do something, and they're just like, the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where the guy comes out of the thing and says, back, mine. And he's coming out of a thing, and he's saying, it's his gold, right? Like, it's very selfish. Those do not inspire confidence. But the employers who listen to the feedback of their employees, that inspires confidence, because you're going to feel that mutual relationship between yourself and your employees. You're going to give that, not just that you give a care when it's convenient, but that you care all the time. You're going to create better relationships the more you listen to your employees. Again, are you going to implement every idea that they have? No, absolutely not. But showing them you're listening to them makes them feel like they're part of your company more than just there to fulfill a role and to get a paycheck, right? Like, if you want if you want them to give you 100% of their effort, then you've got to be willing to give them 100% of your effort, okay? All right. Now, let's put it all together. What's next? This one's probably the hardest. Okay, the other stuff is somewhat easy. Like, A plus B equals C, this is easy. This is nothing that you have to worry about. This next one, step number 7 is, you're going to want to analyze what's working and what's not. Do more of what's working and stop doing what isn't working. Now, I know you're like, oh, duh. But at the same time, people don't actually do it. They think it. They don't actually do it. They don't say, oh, yeah, I need to make sure that I'm not just implementing these steps and then it gets bloated and then it's unsustainable, right? Like, that's the issue, is it becomes unsustainable if you implement everything your employees do all at once, because there's not enough people to maintain that, right? Because there will be additional workload required. So it's important that you implement an idea, analyze it, see if it works. If it works, great, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, stop doing it. Same thing goes. If something is, then you take the next idea, you implement it, you analyze it, rinse and repeat. It's difficult because you actually have to sit down and take the time to do this analysis that it takes. What are the benefits that you've received by doing these things? And that can take time. And there's one thing that people are typically impatient about, and that's seeing results on things. So you're going to want to balance that, right? Because some things, like I said, are going to take a longer fuse than other things. So keep that in mind, is that it may not be tomorrow. You implement something today and tomorrow it's awesome, right? It might take some tweaking. It might take a little bit of time to do that. But as you do this, you'll see your growth will go like this because you'll be caring about not just what you're implementing, but you're caring about the process. And that's going to instill confidence and respect from your employees. And it's going to give you an amazing opportunity to build a sustainable business, right? There's a lot of these businesses that are unsustainable. It's not that they're bad businesses, it's that they're unsustainable because while implementing strategies that will help you grow are important, if you do them, as I said earlier, all at once, things implode. Apply the scientific method to your business, if you will. They don't change a variable. They don't change 5 variables at once. Change 1 variable at a time. You create a base. You create something to measure growth against. Okay, here's how it was last year. Here's how it was this year, and adjusted for inflation and blah 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 blah. So this is going to take some work with your CPA, your financial managers, people of that nature. This isn't something that's just going to happen instantaneously or overnight, and then you continue to do these types of growth things. All right, well, that's it. If you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and like, and know we go live Monday through Friday most of the time. Talk to you later. Bye.